welcome to my channel. I'm Jordan and today I have a super fun video to do. So I saw Jess over at Read by Jess do this video where she found her Goodreads twin. And what that means is on Goodreads, if you're friends with somebody, or even I think if you're not friends with them, you can go onto their page and there's a button that says compare books, and you can compare your reading tastes with someone else based on your Goodreads shelves. So it takes into account how many books you've each read that are the same, and then your ratings if you've rated them similarly, and it spits out some numbers to tell you how similar your reading tastes are. So Jess went ahead, I think she picked 10 people to compare books with and to find out which person she had the most similar tastes to and considered that person her Goodreads twin. That was so fun. She actually looked at me in that video and I'm kind of disappointed to say that we're not Goodreads twins. I thought we would have more similar tastes, but I think that she has like over 700 books on her Goodreads or something, and I have like 200 something, so I think maybe I just need to read more books and then it'll maybe up our similarities. But regardless, I wanted to do that video myself with the people that I'm friends with on Goodreads and the people that I follow on Goodreads. I'm doing it a little bit different than she did it, just for fun. So what she did was pick 10 people and then she kind of looked like live on camera, I think, at the similarities and just reacted to them. What I did was I went ahead and went on Goodreads. I added a whole bunch of people I follow on Twitter and Booktube, to have as many bookish friends as possible on Goodreads. And then I went through and I think I looked at 80 people and I took down my stats for all of them. I looked at how many books we had in common and how similar our ratings are with all those people. And then I sorted them, you know, highest to lowest, and I wrote down my 5 most similar people that I have my tastes in common with, my 5 least similar, and then my 5 people that I have the most books in common with in general, because that's a little different. So I'll explain each section as I get to them. But yeah, all these people that I mentioned I am friends with or I follow on Goodreads and Booktube and everywhere, so it goes without saying, but please check them out if you are not already. I'm very excited to now know whose tastes align with mine the most so that I can you know, take their recommendations more seriously, or know which people I can trust, you know, even more because our tastes align so much. So I'm gonna scoot over so that I can insert some pictures and stuff. Okay, I'm gonna start with the people that I have the least similar book tastes in. And this was surprising. I'm gonna say all of this was kind of surprising. I probably would have guessed that I have tastes more or less similar with different people than show up here. But, okay, the number 5 person that I have least similar tastes to is Story from Storybook. And she's someone that I've just started following pretty recently, so I haven't really gotten much of a taste from her videos of how much we're in common, but it turns out we only have 62% similarity ratings in books, which is still more than half. So I still think that in general, I can trust her recommendations still. And we've read 26 of the same books. So that's not that many books to go off of either, but very interesting. The number 4 person that I have the least similar tastes to is Mayana from Mayana Reads. I'm honestly kind of surprised by that. We have 60% similar tastes over 50 books, so that's a pretty good spread. She's very candid just in general, but also with her book reviews, and so I think that what I can do with Mayana is listen to her reviews and listen to the very specific problems she has with certain books. And I guess since we have not so similar tastes, if she has something that she doesn't like in a book that I think I might like in a book, then I might still like that book. So then I can still take, you know, recommendations from her because she's super open and honest with her reviews. Number 3 person that I have the least similar taste to, Chandler from Chandler Ainsley. I guess I can't say I'm that surprised because we just enjoy different genres. She is the romance queen and I read very little romance, and the romance that I do read, I don't like it to be light and fluffy and smutty. I like it to be emotional and, you know, darker, more hard-hitting. So from that aspect, I guess I can see how romances definitely don't align. And she is just starting to get into mystery thrillers, I think, a little bit more. And from what I've seen so far of the thrillers that she's read, the ones she likes the most are ones that I've just been not impressed by, and then vice versa, ones that she didn't find that interesting, I really love. So good to know that it makes sense that I don't get a ton of recommendations from her just because our tastes don't completely align. Number 2 least similar person is Mika from Mika August. 60% similar tastes over 43 books, so really similar to Mayana, and I know that they're friends. Maybe they're friends because they have such similar reading tastes, so it makes sense that if I am different from one, I'm also different from the other one. I don't know, I'm just trying to justify it. But similarly to Mayana, I'm thinking that with Mika, maybe I can watch her videos and hear exactly what she has to say about the books she doesn't like and take it with a grain of salt and see if something she didn't like in a book is something that I would like and get recommendations that way. And then my number 1 least similar person, the person that I have the least similarities to and the most different reading tastes, is kind of surprising. It's Destiny from Howling Libraries. And Destiny has been a book blogger for a long time, and I followed her blog first, and she pretty recently started a BookTube channel, and I followed it from the beginning. I honestly would have thought that we would have more similar tastes. What our numbers are, we're only 57% similar over 84 books, so it's a pretty good chunk of data there. And I would have thought we related more on the hard-hitting contemporary type books. I think that she reads a lot of those and enjoys them as much as I do, but she does read a lot more fantasy, I know, and I read almost no fantasy, so from that perspective I also see how we're different. That's a little bit of a bummer. This doesn't really mean anything in terms of I'm still gonna watch her videos and I'm still probably gonna pick up books that she raves about, but I guess it just is making sense of if I pick up a book that she says she really loves and I'm not necessarily impressed by it, well, it might just be because we have not so similar tastes, and that's okay too. So now, getting into my most similar reading tastes. The number 5 person that I have the most similar reading tastes to, according to Goodreads, is Eric from Break Even Books. And I love Eric and his videos. We have 82% similar tastes over 21 books, so that's not a ton of books that we have in common. I think the ones that we do have in common are probably sci-fi. He reads a lot of fantasy sci-fi and I read more contemporary sci-fi, but the ones that we do have in common, it seems like we both like. So this one makes sense, and definitely is a good indicator to take some more sci-fi recs from Eric. Number 4 most similar is Olivia from I Livy for Books. This is a pleasant surprise. Olivia is someone that I've pretty recently just started watching, and she's super sweet. We have 82% similar tastes over 42 books, so that's a little bit more books in common, so it's good to know that I can trust her recommendations. Number 3, most similar, kind of surprising to me, is Gavin from How to Train Your Gavin. We have 85% similar tastes over 27 books, so again, not a ton of books, but pretty darn similar in our ratings. I know that Gavin reads a lot of middle grade, obviously that's kind of his brand, but I think we also probably read a lot of the same contemporaries maybe, and I guess I would kind of have assumed that he probably likes more of the fantastical elements in, you know, magical realism type books, and I prefer contemporary where there's no magical elements, but it's good to know that maybe that's not quite the case. Maybe our tastes align a little bit more than I thought. So this was really interesting to see Gavin here on my list as most similar. Number 2 most similar person is Kristen from Books and More with Kristen G. She is new to the BookTube game, just like me, although she's even newer. I think she's only had her channel for like 2 or 3 weeks. I followed her since the beginning. She is great. And we have 86% similar tastes over 42 books. So just like Olivia, that's quite a few books to know that we have in common and that we have similar tastes to. So I'm really excited to keep watching her channel and to keep getting recommendations from her. That's really good to know that you know, she's supposedly the number 2 person most similar to my reading tastes that I follow. And then number 1, the number 1 most similar person, according to Goodreads, that our reading tastes align is Rebecca from A Bookbound Blonde. And she's also someone that I've followed relatively recently, so I don't know a ton about the type of books she reads. We have 91% similar interests, but that's only over 13 books. So I think I'm gonna have to do a little bit more research about what books exactly we have in common and what type of books it is that she reads. It appears that the books that we both read, we both either enjoy or don't enjoy, and I can trust, you know, her thoughts on the ones that I've already read or that I am thinking about reading. So that's good to know. But yeah, didn't expect to see her at the top, but I'm happy about it. So that's pretty cool that she's technically, according to Goodreads, my Goodreads twin. And then the last thing that I wanted to go through, so as I've said, Goodreads tells you what percentage of ratings you have similar, as well as the number of books you have in common. And when I went through my least similar and most similar people, the number of books that we have in common have been relatively low compared to all the books that I've read and all the books that a lot of people have read on Goodreads. So I also wanted to look at the number of books that I have in common with people and talk through the people that I have the most books in common with. Even if our ratings aren't necessarily aligned, these people I read a lot of the same books as, and I think that's just interesting to know. So the number 5 person that I have the most books in common with is Chelsea from Chelsea Darling Reads. This is honestly not that surprising to me. First of all, she reads a lot of books, and so it makes sense that we might have a lot in common if we both have relatively big libraries on Goodreads. But we have 105 books in common, but only a 73% similarity rate, and I definitely think that that's true. I get plenty of recommendations from Chelsea. I love watching her channel, but she reads a lot of romance, and I think she likes the lighter, fluffier, more fun, more smutty romances, whereas, like I said, I like the more emotional, hard-hitting romances. But I think when it comes to like hard-hitting contemporaries, separate from romance, that's more where we align. But we have a lot of books in common, so that's cool. Number 4 person is Amy from Amy Reads. I love Amy, first of all. Her channel is one of my favorites. I don't even know why. I just find her really relatable, and she's very casual in her videos. Sometimes I think the people who are so high energy just kind of drain me a little bit, and maybe that's the introvert in me, but Amy is very relaxing. I like her reading vlogs where she's just doing stuff around the house, being all calm. And it turns out we have pretty similar tastes in books too. And I've already noticed that in her videos that I watch. We do read a lot of the same books. We have 117 books in common and a 76% similarity rate. And it's good to know that just in general, she's one of the most similar people to me. Because 76% similarity is still pretty good, I think, in trusting somebody's ratings. Number 3 most books in common person is Gabby from Gabby Reads. Not necessarily surprised to see this either. She reads a lot of mystery thrillers. I read a lot of mystery thrillers. I definitely get a lot of recommendations from Gabby when it comes to mystery thrillers, and so it's nice to see that it shows up that way, that we have a lot of books in common. We have 126 books in common and a 75% similarity rating. So that's also pretty good. I think that I can definitely continue to trust Gabby's reviews. Number 2 books most in common is Kayla from Books and Lala. Kayla is probably my number 1 favorite booktuber. I love, love, love her videos. She's the person that I will watch every single video. Anytime she uploads, I will go back and rewatch videos. I love her challenge secret TBR videos, and I get a lot of recommendations from her. And so it makes sense that she shows up with 132 books in common with me and a 76% similarity rating. If she talks about a mystery thriller or a contemporary and says she loves it, there's a good chance that I'm also gonna check it out. So not surprised to see her there at all. Love you, Lala. And then the number 1 person that I have the most books in common with is someone fairly unexpected, just because I didn't know that this person, you know, has this many books on their Goodreads and that we'd have so many in common. But it's Danielle from Danny Reads, and she's someone who I think also started relatively close to me on BookTube. I haven't exactly checked when she started her channel, but I've followed her about since I have started mine. And we have 152 books in common with a 72% similarity rate. So that's still a pretty good similarity rate and a lot of books in common. So that's really interesting to know. And I kind of thought that she read more fantasy than I did, but with all our books in common, maybe that's not the case, and maybe I should pay a little bit closer attention to books that she reviews and kind of determine how what types of books I can really trust her opinion on. So yeah, overall this was super informative to me. I really loved going through. I mean, I'm a numbers person, a statistics person. I like seeing numbers and things like this anyway, and it's nice to kind of be able to quantify something like this, like your ability to take recommendations from another person. I think that's a really fun idea. And this has introduced, I guess, kind of two twins, Rebecca and Danny, that I didn't realize I had such similar tastes to in books. And it's definitely gonna make me look closer at their recommendations when they're doing wrap-ups and reviews and things. And if they really, really enjoy a book, I can maybe trust that I might really, really enjoy it too, and pick up a book that I may have not wanted to pick up otherwise. So yeah, this was super fun. Thank you, Jess, for including me in your video and for doing this in the first place. I had such a fun time. I definitely recommend other people to do this. It's not a tag or anything, so I'm not going to tag people, but if you're watching this and this sounds like something interesting to you, if you use Goodreads a lot, definitely recommend trying that compare books button and looking at how similar your tastes are to people that you follow. But yeah, other than that, I don't have anything else. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in my next one.